Well, if you are a watcher of the royal family and you like secrets, you might want to sit down because this is a
late-night comedian, a royal duchess, and a moment Meghan Markle never saw coming. Yeah, Stephen Colbert just smoked her stinking behind, and it's honestly kind of become a norm now. Once hailed as a breath of fresh air in the royal family, Meghan Markle has now become one of the most polarizing figures in modern celebrity culture. With every move she makes, headlines follow. And this time, she's not just making waves, she's trying to reshape her entire public image with a cooking show nobody asked for, a lifestyle brand met with mockery, and now a podcast revival that feels like deja vu?
Let's make a show.
Let's go. I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it.
But just as she attempts to reclaim her narrative, Colbert delivers a scathing monologue that leaves her reeling. His mockery isn't just late-night humor, it's a reflection of a growing sentiment. Even Hollywood's elite are beginning to question the authenticity of her narrative.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
So, what's the story? Well, apparently, Meghan finally revealed the long-awaited secret behind why she and Prince Harry Kermit the Frog refer to each other as M and H. Groundbreaking content, juicy revelation, a love story so unique and profound that these simple letters carry some deep mystical meaning. But, spoiler alert, it's not really quite as dramatic as it all sounds.
I am here for it.
According to Meghan, the nickname started in the very early days of their relationship, back when they were still trying to keep things on a down low. They couldn't exactly go around shouting their royal romance from the rooftops, so Meghan, ever the pragmatist, opted to call Harry H, to keep things a little bit more low-key and mysterious. And of course, Prince Kermit never wanted to miss an opportunity for simplicity, so he don't gotta think too much. Began calling her M in return. Hey, you see that, guys? That's how you go low-key. You don't have to lie that it's a different Harry because there are literally a million Harrys out there. You have to be secretive and call him H. Oh, our Meghan did this ninja move to hide the fact that she was dating Prince Harry of the British royal family. So what started as a really sloppy way to keep things private quickly turned into a habit. And now it's become such a signature part of their dynamic that they casually drop it in interviews and media appearances like it's the most fascinating, relatable thing on the planet. But let's hear it directly from Meghan herself explaining this earth-shattering secret in her most dramatic tone.
Dating? When everything was in code.
Code, yeah.
Right, people didn't know we were dating for, talk about memory lane, just keeping. So I think we were just on a letter basis.
Yeah.
And then it stuck.
It stuck.
It stuck.
Yeah. And still to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Meghan Markle really just cracked the code of the century, didn't she, dude? We've been waiting with bated breath for this deep, profound explanation behind why she and Harry call each other M and H. Turns out it's just a simple solution to the problem of needing to keep their relationship under wraps at the beginning because everybody would have really closely scrutinized it. Oh, and did you notice, Meghan has this talent of making anything sound so dramatic. She's a thespian. I mean, I guess she's not. She's married to a dude, but whatever. Hey, come on. The way she told the story is just so theatrical. But hey, who needs a simple explanation when we can make it sound like the most romantic thing in history, right? And in case you missed it, Stephen Colbert had a perfectly sarcastic take on this so-called mystery. And well, let's just say that he was not as impressed as Meghan might have hoped. Watch as he sums up the whole thing with just a few words.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
He doesn't just poke fun, he ripped through Meghan like thin tissue.
I assumed it was for the obvious reason. M is the 13th letter of the alphabet, and H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. 8 plus 13 is 21. 21 was Deion Sanders' number, and Deion Sanders' nickname was Neon Dion, obviously a reference to how they light up each other's lives.
The dude went all in. So now it's Neon Dion, and why does this story actually make sense? I mean, look at how both Meghan and Harry are lighting each other's lives just like a neon sign. Except that this glow has started to look a little problematic and radioactive. For one, it's pretty clear Meghan's had a huge influence on Harry's decisions, like when she pushed him to walk away from his royal family and everything that came with it, including the titles and the responsibilities. And let's not forget the messes that have followed. Harry found himself caught up in all sorts of drama here in the US, from his involvement in various legal cases to the recent Center Bali fiasco. And yet, strangely, Meghan's been notably absent in showing public support for him through all of this. And then there's the issue of race. Meghan made headlines when she accused the royal family of being racist toward their child. Yet, Harry conveniently refused to comment on that matter. Do they really have each other's backs, though? It doesn't really seem like it, right? Even US President Donald Trump said, Harry's got a terrible wife. Like, come on, man. That's the last straw. Even Trump's bashing the couple, and that should tell you a lot about the situation. Also, does anybody even know where Melania is these days? So, yeah, maybe their love is lighting up their lives, but it seems like the neon glow is starting to cast some pretty long shadows, my friends. And Stephen just really took this to another level. He didn't just shrug it off as a funny royal tidbit, he absolutely tore into the whole thing. I mean, come on. We're talking about a couple who can't stop sharing their every move, yet somehow their initials are a great, big, huge, fat mystery.
I dated a very famous woman whose identity I will never reveal and only ever refer to her using our secret nickname, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
Markle got torched here, and let's be honest, everybody saw it coming. I mean, Markle being thrashed has become more common now, especially after her first podcast interview that was buried under the weight of public indifference. It's kind of like how Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, used to be this great big huge crowning achievement in Vanilla WoW, but now it's just meme culture. Aside from her tangled love story, Meghan's being bashed for her solo ventures. Because while she might be lighting up her personal life with neon metaphors, her professional track record is flickering a little less brightly. Take With Love Meghan, for instance, a lifestyle brand that sounded like it was pulled straight out of a Pinterest board from 2014. Organic jams, hand-poured candles, monogrammed napkins, basically everything you never asked for from your grandma for Christmas, wrapped up in recycled twine in a hefty price tag. Thanks, Nana, I think I'd rather have another pair of sweatpants this year. Anyway, it was Meghan's grand attempt to rebrand herself as the next Gwyneth Paltrow, except with, less wellness and way more royal residue. From the moment the trademark filings leaked, the internet lit up with mockery. Critics questioned whether the world really needed another celebrity-fronted lifestyle brand, especially one rooted in vague platitudes and recycled aesthetics. Yeah, the timing didn't really help very much either. It came just as the Archetypes podcast was fading from public memory and her Netflix projects were quietly getting shelved. Instead of a powerful reintroduction with Love Meghan, felt like a desperate pivot for attention. A bid for relevance disguised as a passion project. And the brand's vague messaging? All heart, zero substance. There was no unique identity, no clear voice, just a former Dutch ass clinging to curated wholesomeness in hopes of selling a few scented jars and tea time trinkets.
But the show is incredibly pretentious, almost in a campy way. Like, it was impossible for God knows how many people to have helped make it without them knowing how obnoxious everything.
And it's so strange for me to say that, because I'm part of that generation that grew up with curated wholesomeness like Seventh Heaven. And then came, as ever, a supposedly heartfelt lifestyle brand aimed at bringing authenticity to luxury stationery and minimalistic linens. Or something like that. It launched quietly and then flopped even quieter. And the reason, well, it was kind of obvious. Zero quality products with sky-high prices. Y'all remember Toys R Us? Yeah, they tried that too. Look how that ended up. Anyway, while Meghan tried to sell us the idea of a return to simplicity, her offerings were anything but simple. And let's not ignore the baffling contradictions. The brand was supposed to embody authenticity, yet it felt more like a marketing stunt than a genuine effort to provide quality or meaningful products. Consumers didn't buy into the story, and the price tags left a very bad taste in people's mouths. I mean, come on, are we really expected to start shelling out $80 or $90 for video games in today's economy? It's preposterous. Anyway, for a brand that was pitched as minimalistic, it really's got an over-the-top price for an underwhelming product. The ultimate irony, as ever, was supposed to stand for timeless elegance or something, but it ended up being a textbook example of how quickly something can fade into irrelevance.
Flower sprinkles, $15. $15. This costs $15. This. And for one, the herbal hibiscus tea is $12. 12 sachets. I think that is quite impressive. Let's take
Confessions of a Female Founder. Meghan's, shiny new podcast / documentary hybrid thingy that's already launched, where she chats with successful women about the grind of building something from the ground up, is kind of rich, considering that she's really struggled to keep a single venture afloat. And that's despite, having royal connections, a global platform, and more multi-million-dollar deals than most entrepreneurs could ever dream of. If building buzz was the goal, she's definitely done that. But sustaining it, that is a completely different story. Because when you peel back the high production values, the soothing background music, and the Pinterest-friendly aesthetics, you're left with a very harsh truth. Meghan's business ventures often fizzle faster than they spark. And no amount of inspiration, jargon, or soft focus B-roll can hide the fact that for somebody preaching the gospel of grit and perseverance, brothers and sisters, her own resume is filled with premature endings and quietly shelved ideas.
So listen, everybody, this is what you do to be successful like me. Oh wait, I'm not successful? Fuck!
Them. Critically and socially, Markle's podcast has been met with a less than stellar reception, earning only 2 stars from outlets like The Telegraph, Standard, and The Guardian. And actually today, I wish I could remember what paper it was, but I saw a 1 star, which is pretty bad.
And the whole reason that it flopped, none other than Meghan's signature habit of making everything about Meghan. Confessions of a Female Founder was pitched as a platform to spotlight inspiring women in their journeys. But somewhere between the introductions and the supposed insights, it quietly morphed into yet another Meghan monologue. And after all of these flop projects, she's got something to say. But first,
A statement from Her Majesty the Queen. But first, to allow me to forget I'm an American who does not give a damn.
So she made a declaration during her appearance at the 2025 Time 100 Summit in New York City, where she discussed her various ventures, including her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, her lifestyle brand, as ever, and her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. And according to her, she's the happiest she's ever been. But let's take a moment to unpack that. All of her recent projects have failed miserably. Her husband is facing a legal trial, and Meghan is the happiest she's ever been? Is she like a sadist? Like, even her old followers are turning their backs now. Yeah, her old followers, including some pretty high-profile celebrities and represented journalists, are beginning to see through the carefully curated image that she's projected for years. Even Colbert, once considered one of the most vocal cheerleaders in mainstream media, seems to have shifted his tone. There was a time when he wouldn't shy away from defending Meghan and Harry's choices, often framing them as misunderstood victims of a rigid monarchy and an unforgiving press.
Oprah was amazing, asking all the right follow-ups. It was clear that the Duchess didn't know what she was signing up for.
Do you remember, Gandalf, that moment after the Oprah interview when Meghan accused the royal family of harboring concerns about her baby's skin tone? Well, Colbert jumped in with biting sarcasm. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but there is a possibility, just a possibility mind you, that this medieval selective breeding program might be racist? At the time, it was a sharp jab in Meghan's favor, painting her as a victim of an outdated, prejudiced institution. And he didn't stop there. With classic Colbert flair, he added, "Awkward is 4 people in the backseat of a car. Awkward is forgetting your friend's child's name. One of our relatives asking you to place your child on the Sherwin-Williams color wheel is royally, messed up." It was a bold moment of solidarity, defending Meghan against the absurdities of royal tradition and echoing public outrage at the time. His voice joined a chorus of media personalities, celebrities, and everyday viewers who saw Meghan not as a manipulator, but as a modern woman wronged by an institution
too steeped in centuries of secrecy and subtle prejudice to see its own flaws.
In that moment, she was the underdog, the outsider speaking truth to power. And if Disney has shown us anything, is that everybody loves an underdog. This was a narrative that fit perfectly with the public mood.
The palace was the villain, cloaked in silence and protocol,
While Meghan became the face of defiance, vulnerability,
and righteous indignation.
Colbert didn't just mock the monarchy, he used humor to shine a light on an uncomfortable truth, helping legitimize Meghan's claims in the eyes of millions.
But, oh, how the tables have turned.
Because now, that same sharp wit once used in her defense is being turned on her, and this time the punches are landing
A little bit harder.
When your former defenders start cracking jokes at your expense, it's not just late night comedy anymore, it is a cultural shift. And if Meghan sees all this, I think it's time for her to rethink her choices and her priorities. Cause right now, broskies, the public ain't ready to buy up what she's selling down. But maybe, just maybe, she either doesn't care about the public feedback or she never bothers to see the charts at all. And there you have it. The tale of Meghan Markle. Once the Duchess of Disruption, now the Empress of Under-Delivery. From high-stakes interviews to headline-grabbing lawsuits, from multi-million-dollar deals to mysteriously vanishing projects, her post-royal journey has been nothing short of a roller coaster. Except instead of thrilling heights and adrenaline-pumping twists, we've seen stalling engines, missed turns, and a lot of very expensive empty seats. Not because people weren't there, but because they just fell out. What started as a fairy tale exit, 2 people boldly walking away from the monarchy to find their freedom, it has slowly morphed into a brand that feels more like smoke and mirrors. Whether it's a podcast that couldn't find its voice, a lifestyle brand nobody asked for, or a documentary series where the confessions felt more curated than candid, the disconnect between Meghan's narrative and public reality is widening by the day. Even her most loyal followers are beginning to crack. What used to be blind support has turned into side-eye, sarcasm, and subtle digs. Because, at a certain point, the glamour of victimhood wears thin, and what's left behind isn't a brave woman standing up to power, but a carefully crafted character trapped in her own performance. So what's next for Meghan? Another brand relaunch, a new Netflix docuseries, a return to Instagram with aesthetic lemon trees and handwritten calligraphy captions. Who the F knows? But one thing's clear, if Meghan wants to remain relevant, she's gonna need more than nostalgia, nicknames, and neon metaphors. She's gonna need a serious rebrand, and this time, maybe do it without the filters.